Hey, it's Todd from Alpha Omega. I hope your day has been good. Look, I just wanted to put together a short little video on something that I think is extremely important, something that a lot of people want and desire and chase, but don't necessarily get, or they get it in maybe not the best way, and that is happiness, all right? Happiness, happiness, happiness. I think it's really, really important because without happiness, what do you have, right? So this video here is called How to Carve Happiness Habits into your mind in just 21 days to completely change your life, completely change your mindset. Now, it's funny because where I stand here talking to you right now today, I guess I've got shit pretty much good in my life, right? Financially, no issues there. Relationships are great, friendships are great, everything's really, really good, right? But the fact is, it hasn't always been this way. And like, I've been coaching now for a decade. I've seen many people over that period of time. I've worked with people that are depressed, anxious. I've worked with people that have gone through extremely traumatic experiences. I've worked with people that have got addictions. I've worked with people that's fucked up and stuck and they can't seem to get their shit straight. And I know just how easy it is, not just from working with those people to fall into loops of unhappiness and not being able to claim your way back, but also myself as well. During my teens, I did a really, really good job of ruining my life. After running away from home when I was 11 and then getting involved with all the wrong shit as I kind of lived with my dad through my teens and getting involved with the crowds that I was with, you know, drugs, violence, everything like that. I did a really, really good job, yeah. Like at this point right now where I stand, I'm 29, I'm just about 30. I've been to prison twice. I've lost just about 12 months of my life to prison. It was under 12 months, but it was pretty close to it. I've been shot at, I've been almost stabbed, I've been bottled, I've had my fucking teeth knocked out. Like, it's been a fucking crazy ride. And like, during my teens, I wasn't really that happy. I was angry, I was bitter, I was resentful, I really didn't trust people. I didn't like people. If you told me back when I was 17 that I'd be standing here right now giving you this little chat via camera, I would have laughed at you, right? I would have laughed at you and thought you're a fucking idiot. But obviously here I am, right? People can change. And it's funny because like when I went to prison the first time, I was 17 and that was for some pretty horrendous shit. But I went in and fate was in my corner and I managed to get out relatively fast, right? I think I was in there for like 3 months or something like that. And I stopped drugs because that was a big problem there. I was taking crack every single day. I was a cokehead, I was a crackhead, and I was taking pills. They were my, I guess, medicines of choice, if you would. But I got out and I stopped that because I just realized this is fucking up my life. And when I got out, I became a raging alcoholic and I was fighting and I was fighting and I was fighting all the time. Now, I've only just recently started telling my full story. And that is that when I was 18, I got arrested again and I got chucked into the watch house and I was there for about 7 days. And the watch house in itself fucking sucks, by the way. But I was there for about 7 days and I'd go in, I'd get bail and they'll give me another charge again and again and again. Until right at the end, the judge kind of said, shit, you're here again, Mr. Pierce. And she pulls out her charge sheet. And there was only one charge left, because here's what happened, right? When I was 18, I was sitting in prison facing 10 to 15 years of legal aid that I was looking at. And it was for something I didn't do. And what happened was someone told a woman to go and say that I raped her. And I've only just recently started telling this story because it's not necessarily the most, nice thing to talk about. It's rather embarrassing. As a man who believes that you should look after people around you, protect women, children, other people, it's kind of embarrassing to have been labeled that when I was 18, and it really hit me hard. And I remember sitting in prison when I was 18. I've only ever thought about killing myself once, and that was when I was sitting there in prison, facing 10 to 15 years for something I didn't do. And like all growing up, I've been called a freak because I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was young, and I was in special education unit. I really had no fucking friends growing up, and I was never allowed to do things. I was always outcasted. And like all that stuff kind of bubbles up. Yeah, it bubbles up and it doesn't escape. And when it doesn't escape, you can explode. And that was me when I was 18, because basically I had all these internal conflicts and doubts and negative self-talk and all this stuff. And then I had the world smash me right in the face saying, you're a fucking rapist, you're a pig, this is who you are. And it crushed me, right? It crushed me through the floor. And it was in that place there that I actually started to fix my mindset, believe it or not, all right? It's like, sometimes you have to hit the absolute rock bottom before you can kind of start getting things straight. And it's funny because there's a quote that I like that says, hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destinies. I believe that everybody, no matter what you're going through, it's paving the way for a bigger story, if you can find the gifts that are hidden in your hard times. You have to find them, you have to be open to seeing them. But when I was in prison this time, right, I was surrounded by a group of people that had learned their lesson too late. Particularly, there was this British guy who was facing 25 years. He'd robbed a couple of banks or something, and he was facing a long, long sentence. And he pulled me aside one day and he said to me, he goes, Toddy, mate, you're always upset. What the damn hell's going on? He goes, you're a young guy, you're 18. Surely it can't be that bad. See, none of them knew that I was in there because of rape. And like that's a big thing, right? Like I remember going through the prison yard, the guys looked at my charge sheet and they said, mate, you've got this charge here. Do you want to go to protection? Because just in case you don't know, like in prison, we don't like that shit. There's two things we don't like. We don't like fucking kitty touchers and we don't like rapists or people that do shit like that to women. We hate it, we want to beat the shit out of them. That's just like the persona, that's just what it is. And like they asked me that when I went through the gates on the first day. And like for me, like I'm innocent. And I'm like, for me, if I say that, if I went to protection, it was like, well, that's me admitting guilt. So I wouldn't have a bar that. And the guy said to me when I walked in, he said, mate, you better be careful. It's a good chance you're gonna get the shit kicked out of you. So that was kind of on my head as well. But Pommy kind of pulled me aside one day and he goes, mate, you're always upset. What's going on? You always seem so down. And it's funny because I was. And he said to me, he goes, what's going on? And I hadn't opened up to anybody at this stage, right, about why I was there and what was going on. And I opened up to him and I told him the whole story, what was going on. And he kind of looked at me and goes, that's fucking heavy. I said, yeah, right. But he goes, you've forgotten how to be happy. And like that didn't make too much sense to me back then because I'm like, what the fuck should I be happy about? I'm sitting here being charged with rape. I didn't do it. I'm going to lose like 10 to 15 years of my life. Like, what's there to be happy about? There's nothing good here. Nothing at all. And he goes, mate, I'm going to be in prison probably for the next 20 years. He goes, I've got a wife, I've got 2 little daughters, and I'm never going to be able to be the dad that I want to be to them. Pretty soon, I'm going to be getting deported back to the UK, where I'm going to spend the good portion of the rest of my life sitting in a dank, dirty, cold prison cell. He goes, do you see me moping around? And I said, no. He goes, exactly. He goes, I'm not moping around because what the fuck good is there to mope around? Shit's already messed up. I don't need to be unhappy as well. And like, I thought that was funny back then. But he told me, he goes, you have to realize that you've got a powerful mind and the things that you focus on become bigger. Now, I didn't realize just how smart Pommy was back then. In hindsight now, I can see he was a very, very intelligent man. But what he did, he goes, you're letting your mind completely control you. You're letting your mind completely control you. You're focusing on all the things that are going wrong. You're focusing on all the things that are against you. And you're forgetting all the things that are actually there for you. Forgetting all the things that you do have. And it was true. I was. All I could see was my problem. And that's natural, right? I've coached that many bloody people over the last decade. I know we focus on our problems because sometimes our problems are so damn big, we think, geez, there can't be anything but the problem, right? But of course there is. It's just about perspective. Sometimes you need somebody else to point out the different angle. And he goes, there's 3 things that you can do to really start to fix this mindset of yours and to start feeling happy. Because even though you're here right now, doesn't mean you have to be trapped. And that for me was an eye-opening moment. So here's the 3 things that he told me that really did help fix my mind. And this is what I want you to do. If you're not as happy as you want to be, if you're not where you want to be in regards to your happiness, take the 3 things I'm about to tell you right now and do them for the next 21 days straight. 21 days to form a new habit. And believe me, we've already got all these bad habits. We need to start to replace some of these bad habits with good habits. Like bad habits like comparing ourselves to others on social media, like posting shit up and then checking every 5 minutes to see if I've got a new like. Like that's all bullshit. It's not going to make you feel good. So you need to replace these with good habits. We need to stack up the good habits over time because that becomes your character. That becomes your identity. That becomes you, the new you. So here's what he said. He goes, first of all, every day when I wake up, Toddy, what I do is I will write down 3 things that I'm happy about. He goes, not the same fucking 3 things every single day, something new every single day. So 3 new things every single day. He goes, you can't do the same 3 things you did yesterday, because if you keep doing the same bloody 3 things every single day, it's going to get boring. And it's like, who the hell wants to only have 3 good things in their damn life? Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me back then, still makes sense to me now. So what I do when I wake up in the morning, and I did this back then as well, is I just start to think about 3 things each day. 3 new things that I could be grateful about. It might have been something as simple as the fact that I had a really good sleep. Maybe something as simple as the fact that, you know what, I'm feeling alert and good. For me back then, I'd get a letter from somebody from the outside and I'd be going, oh my God, someone else is thinking about me, they care. So like these little tiny things all the time. And I started doing that every single day. And what that does, it starts to rewire your brain, right? It rewires your focus. And it starts to make you realize that, hey, things aren't as bad as you think. So that's number 1. Number 2, he goes, you have to start to move your body. Now, see, back then I was a fat fuck. I was chunky. I was a chunky monkey. And I wasn't fat, but I was definitely chunky. It was more the alcohol. And I wasn't really moving very much. And he said, the next thing you need to do is you have to start to move. He goes, like, when you don't exercise, when you don't move, your energy centers there, it's stagnant, everything is stuck. You have to start to move your body for at least 15 minutes every single day. Now for me, back then I was in a 50-man cell. And like, back then, like it was very, very structured when I was in prison. Yeah, like you'd wake up at say 6 a.m, the doors would unlock at 7, you'd go down, you'd do breakfast, you'd be out until say, I don't know, maybe 11:30, 12, you'd eat lunch and then you'd go to lockdown from like, 12:30, 1 o'clock until 3 p.m. 3 p.m. you'd come back out of the lockdown and you'd fuck around for a bit. At like 5 p.m. you'd do your dinner, and then from 6 p.m. you'd be locked down from 6 p.m. until 7 a.m. the next day. So it's very, very structured. So there's these little windows, right? So from like 7 a.m. to like 11:30, I can exercise. From 3 p.m. to 5, I can do exercise. That's what I did do. And like it was a 50-man cell, big rectangle, 2 stories, and there were like stairs going up with things going around. And what I started to do is I started to run around these things, touch one end, come back down, go up and down, do squats, push-ups, sit-ups, and all that kind of good stuff. And it really had a massive positive impact in my mindset and how I felt. So you need to start doing that as well. If you're not moving as much as you should be, now's the time to start. 21 days, believe me, even if it's something as simple as just getting out, going for a 15-minute brisk walk, believe me, once you've built up that habit, everything starts to change. It's all about getting that momentum, pushing past the inertia. Once an object that's not in motion is hard to get moving. But this is physics 101. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. You start to get the motion happening to start with, yeah? So that's the second thing he said. The third thing he said is he goes, there is no better feeling than the feeling of helping somebody else, especially when they didn't ask for the help. And this is what's called a random act of kindness. He goes, I do it all the time. Like, I'm here helping you out, and it makes me feel really, really good, Toddy. He goes, so make it a habit of, instead of just taking things from people, and obviously that was completely contextually relevant to where I was back then, like we're all criminals, people are in there for theft, there's people in there for various reasons. He goes, instead of like taking, start giving. Because when you give, and when you give without asking for anything in return, it feels absolutely amazing. Like that's gonna light you up. It's gonna light you up, your biochemistry, your emotions, everything, and it feels so good. And like I took that to heart, and I started to help people around the prison cell. And it can be, and this is what you can do. It's how you apply this in your life, by the way. It's like random acts of kindness doesn't have to be some big thing. Like when I got out and I got into hypnosis, what I started to do was random acts of kindness in street hypnosis. So I'd actually start to go up to people and I'd find small groups of people and I'd say, hey, my name's Todd, I'm a hypnotist, I'm performing here today. I'd like to give you all a gift. And sometimes I'd find this individual people. I remember I was in Subway. It was like 2011 or 2010, 2011. I was in Subway in Fortitude Valley and there was a lady looking very, very sad. And I walked up and I said, hey, my name's Todd, I'm a hypnotist. I'm actually doing some work here today. Would you like to get a gift? And she said, yes. I said, where are you from? She goes, New Zealand. I go, are you feeling all right? She goes, oh, there's some stuff going on. I said, oh, can I give you a gift? And I did some work with her and made her feel really, really good. And for me, that was a random act of kindness. But random acts of kindness don't have to be this big thing, right? It can be something as simple as saying, hey, your hair looks really nice today. Or, like for example, today there was a lady that was struggling to get some stuff into her car. I just walked over and I gave her a hand. I smiled. I said, "You have a good day." And like, it can be so simple. But what happens is these little things that we do, right? Like being grateful, exercising, moving our bodies so the energy flows, helping other people, giving instead of always taking. Like this becomes part of our character. These become our new natural set points of how we behave and respond to the world around us. And like, remember, life's like, you know, we're like antennas, right? The frequency that we put out is what we get back. So when we start to make these new habits part of who we are, we start to attract more goodness into our life. The more that you help other people, right, without necessarily wanting anything back in return, you know, people then start to help you. The more that you move and you get out there and you exert your energy, you start to get energy coming back, right? Not just that, when you start being grateful and acknowledging all the things that you do have, you start to get more good stuff coming back into your life. So let's just wrap this quick little video up because it's gone longer than I thought it would. 3 things I want you to do for the next 21 days that will reshape your mind, right? It'll reshape your mind and it'll create powerful happiness habits that you will just naturally start to become happy without having to think about it. Number 1, every single day for the next 21 days, write down 3 things that you're grateful for, yeah? 3 separate things. They always have to be different every single day. I don't want you recycling. Number 2, I want you to go and move for a minimum of 15 minutes every single day. And I don't mean just walking into work. I mean like some sort of physical brisk, you know that you're doing exercise, right? And number 3, start engaging in a couple of random acts of kindness. Try to do 1 or 2 random acts of kindness every single day. It could be something as simple as sending an email saying, "Hey, I really appreciate what you did. This was fantastic work," if it's like a work setting. Or, you know, it can be bigger things if you want to as well. All right, but anyway, this video's gone way too long. I'm going to clock off right now, but take care and I'll speak to you in another video, I'm sure. Bye-bye.